Hi, I'm Kristen, one of the co-founders of Sati, and I'm here with Nima, the founder of TheraCare, and we're here to have a quick discussion about women's health and just to understand a bit more about what's the landscape of women's health in India. So first, I wanted to ask you, first, welcome to Ahmedabad, and thanks for coming to talk to us for a little while. We are very excited about FemCon hosting or helping to host FemCon in Ahmedabad, and I wanted to ask you a bit about TheraCare and what's the inspiration for it, and how's your journey been so far?
So first of all, thanks a lot for having me and for being the co-hosts for FemCon in Ahmedabad. Thea Care is a multimedia knowledge platform for women's health, which uses interactive technologies like augmented reality and conversational bots to make information access and awareness, about women's health much more fun, interactive, and easy. So the main inspiration around Thea Care is that we noticed that not only are there too many options for women when it comes to healthcare products, but there's also low awareness, there is low access, and there is not much research that percolates down, to
Right.
every woman. So we wanted to change that, and that's how Thea started. The journey so far has been very exciting. The landscape has changed a lot since we started just about 2 years ago, and that in the last 2 years has seen a very huge growth in women's communities and women seeking information online. So these are all very positive trends for us, and we hope to capitalize it in the next few years.
Nice, very awesome. Yeah, I think in terms of the landscape of women's health, do you think uh, there's been kind of a shift in awareness, and in that sense, are there like certain focuses on certain areas of women's health, or are there ways that we can kind of improve the awareness and understanding?
So of course there has been an increase. There has been, there's more conversation around menstruation happening, and due to in no less part, movies like Padman and things like that. And no matter how much activists and advocates speak about a product-based intervention, and the reality is that when these kind of mainstream representations happen, then the conversation does come into the open, for
Right.
the majority of people. Besides that, I think the good thing is that more conversation is happening, and when there is more conversation, we can talk about what more needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that I see is that a lot of the information, a lot of the products are not rights based. For
Mm-hmm.
instance, I'm suddenly seeing a lot of profusion of these vaginal douches and vaginal gels and cleansers and all of
Mm-hmm.
that, and most of the women are. They somehow now feel that the vagina does not clean itself and you have to
Right.
use
Right.
all these things.
Right.
So there is always this fear about profusion of marketing around all that's wrong
Right.
with
Right.
women's health and women's
Okay.
bodies.
Yeah,
So
for
the
sure.
information needs to be more rights based, it needs to be more science based.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a huge gap that I see currently.
How do you think that we can kind of make a positive change in that direction? And what are some of the ways that we can help people find this information more easily? Because I think it isn't readily available, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
something I want to do.
So I think the first and most important thing is that because in a country like India, both access and awareness are a problem. Any organization, or for instance, Sati Pads, I know does this. There are other organizations who do this. Those who are making innovative products,
Mm-hmm.
like chemical-free pads or things like that, these products have to go hand in hand with awareness,
Mm-hmm.
and organizations like ours, which are primarily awareness, we have to go hand in hand in making in highlighting the right products, in partnering with the right products,
Mm-hmm.
so that wherever there is information there is direct action,
Right.
and
Yeah.
wherever there is an action we also have our information around it. So
Right.
this has to go hand in hand. That is one way to do this. How to make it more accessible? Now this is a very difficult question to answer because the contexts are different, the languages are different, everything is different. So I think using local communities
Mm-hmm.
and trickling down the information and the research that we can access, using local communities and local chapters to reach a larger number of women. I think that is one approach that I know a lot of organizations are using and it works. Yeah.
Nice. So, basically, people who are hopefully watching this video can kind of participate by maybe
Yes.
reaching out and seeing how they can share information. Are there resources they can share directly
Yeah.
on your website? Or?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Cool. I think in terms of menstruation, so I was wondering what's the most common question that you get about menstruation on your platform, and what is kind of the biggest FAQ that or maybe even myth that you dispel?
Actually, we have received shocking questions about menstrual health and hygiene, not just in our online community but also in our offline communities. We've been asked about, is it okay to shampoo during menstruation? Is it okay to take a bath? Because, our pores are open, things like these. Or is white discharge just, the bone powder or something? We've got some really, really disturbing questions. And I think the most important thing that people want to know is why there is pain, whether it's PCOS, whether it's menstrual cramps. Why must it be there? It might be a symptom, but the pain is,
Right.
how do they explain it? How do they, So I think it's mostly the PMS and the pain and the discomfort and some very scary myths. So that's what we hear the most.
No, I've not heard of that one, bone powder.
Yeah,
That's
it was a first
pretty-
for us as well. It's very recent and very disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then in terms of how do you think both platforms like TheraCare and products like Sati can kind of work together or really figure out a way to make a difference in women's health landscape in India?
I think we've already made a start with FemCon in Ahmedabad. I think the second thing also is that, for instance, there are a lot of myths around menstrual products. What is biodegradable, what is compostable, what is not biodegradable. There are, I think we've, also. So I think the myths around the products that we are using, the pros and cons, what is good for our health, what is good for our environment, what is accessible, these things are not things that a few hashtags can solve. This requires a lot of nuanced discussion, a lot of nuanced understanding. The context of the people matters. So I think this conversation has to be led in a very sensitive, informed and nuanced manner. And I think that is what we can definitely do, because people have questions. It's a good thing that there are many options out there. That's a very good thing. But is every option really
the best option?
The best option? So I think dispelling the myths about products. There are so many products that we don't even need, but it's out there in the market.
Right.
So just creating awareness about that, I think that's very important.
Okay, great. Yeah, and we hope that all of you watching can also share your questions with us either in the comments, or you can send us messages on Instagram, Facebook. For Sati, it's at SatiPads, and for TheraCare,
it's thea.care on Instagram. And please reach out to us. We'll be happy to connect you to experts and everybody else on our panel.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.